Yeah, please. I will try her later. Just say that, it was really hard for me to do, but I kept my word and I didn't call all week. And that it's Laura. She knows who I am and what it's all about, and that I'm dying to talk to her. Thank you. Do you know when she'll be out? When she'll be available? Okay, that's okay. I'll just try later. Thank you. Bye. I was patient. I didn't call all week. You think I didn't want to? You think I'd have to sit on my hands to stop myself? I do things to distract myself, okay? But that doesn't mean that my every waking moment is not spent in the back of my head wondering what's happening with my mother. I was hoping I'd hear from Cheryl on Tuesday. But I wasn't... I kept my word. I kept my word. I didn't contact her all week because I told her, I wasn't going to bug her every day. I said, I'll give you till Friday. But I didn't hear from her. I kept my word. My only chance in hell now. This is such a joke. My only chance in hell of knowing anything that's going on with my mother is through Cheryl, who has contact and has a release with my mother's social worker. That's it. That's it. Because everything that was supposed to happen didn't happen. I have sitting in my shit over there a release that my mother was supposed to, had she not wound up in the hospital or had she not stayed in the fucking hospital, you know what I mean? She was intending to give that to her psychologist, okay? A release from me. Cheryl drew it up. I got a release with Cheryl. Cheryl drew it up. My mom gave it to me. Or she showed it to me, right? And then but she was supposed to take that to her psychologist. Because she has to decide what information I can know. It's not enough that I have this piece of paper with his name and my name on it. She had to give it to him and show him, and she hadn't checked off any boxes. But I have proof. Besides, you can just believe me that my mom, said it to me and whatnot. She did not want me to be shut out. In fact, when she was in the hospital and feeling better, she was talking about getting rid of Marion completely on the healthcare proxy. I waited all week. I feel like I waited forever. It's only been 4 days, but her social worker can just snap her fingers and find out what's going on with my mom. And Cheryl promised me that if she didn't hear back from my mother's social worker, she would contact her, nudge her a little. She promised me. And in the end, I have to deal with the fact that she might just say, I was too busy, Laura, I'm sorry, Your mother's not my top priority. No. The only person whose top priority is my mother is me, and I can't do shit except push the one person who can help me. And I can't push her too hard, or I'll turn her off. But I stressed it to her last time. I said, you're my only hope, okay? You are my only hope in finding out what's going on with my mother. Only hope. This is me at college, shit-faced on my 21st birthday. This is me in Hollywood, in Donald and I took a trip there. Taking a trip wasn't much. I just got us a cheap hotel room and we went out to some kind of gothic club one night. And in any case, I had never seen Hollywood, so we didn't live far from it. We just took the bus over there. But this is me in Hollywood, I believe. If I moved to LA in March of 2001. This was 2001 or 2002, I'm not sure. One or the other. But anyway, that's me in Hollywood in 2001 or 2002. This is my mom holding her beloved angel before I moved in. My mom holding her beloved angel. My mom and me at the holidays. I think I was probably in my 20s then. I may have been younger. It may have been when I was still in college. I don't know. Suffice to say, it was a long time ago. I've had all different hairstyles over the years. I've had perms, I've had spiral perms, but in the end, I prefer my hair straight. 100% just prefer my hair straight. to my mom when she was young. Remember I told you I took all the pictures? I'll tell you why I, air quotes, stole them. When my mom's sick, she doesn't know what she's doing. And at that same time period, when she tried to hurt me, when I was 23, she was about to, obviously it wasn't that morning, because that morning when she tried to hurt me, I got away from her, thank God, and then I was screaming outside on the ledge, because I was getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. I'd crawled outside, you know, so of course the neighbors called the police, and the police came instantly, thank God. My mom had run away like an animal, you know, run away into the woods and whatnot, but thank God her, of course. But I believe, you know, you build up to being sick, so I believe it was that night before. I told you I came home from working at Friendly's. I came home kind of late, probably around 11:30. I had a car then, and her nose was all bleeding, and I said, "Mommy, why is your nose bleeding?" And then she said something like I cut off. She told me she cut off her mole, and I said, "Why did you do that?" And she's like, "It was ugly. I cut it off." You know, talking like. As you may or may not be aware, of schizophrenia turns somebody into somebody they're not. Okay. There are much more minor illnesses where the person's air quote crazy, but doesn't you know, just become a completely different entity, a completely different person. Okay. My door didn't lock. When I ran upstairs, I was just a mere few seconds ahead of her because she chased me. And I had planned to grab my car keys and slip out. It didn't work. I was trying to slip out quietly. She saw me. Remember, the night before with the mole, and you know, she'd cut her mole, this big mole off of her nose. Her nose was all bleeding. But before that, you know, a day or so before that, whenever it was, she was going to destroy all of her photo albums. You have to understand, these are the pictures of me when I was little, me when I was a baby, all the pictures that you know, that your parents have of, I have pictures of when she married my father, when she married my abusive alcoholic stepfather. If she had destroyed all those pictures, that was it. They'd be gone forever. So I stole them. I got them from her, you know, miraculously, and I wound up keeping them ever since. And I wound up using Kodak Picture Maker at CVS, and now they're all safe on the internet, on flash drives, on my computer. You know what I mean? I saved those pictures that she would have destroyed. They were irreplaceable because they were from even before I was born. Okay? She would have destroyed them. She was about to. I stopped her. So I have them. I have them, and this picture is probably when she was young, you know. Whenever it's from. It's a Polaroid. It doesn't say the date on it, but wait a minute, it says 4/72. That might be the date. It might be. Who knows? If it is, then it was taken, you know, when I was a little girl. When I was like 4. So, give or take, you know. But like I told you in another video, when I was mere seconds from not escaping her clutches, and I'm sorry to talk about my mom this way, but it's not my mother. they can have superhuman strength. They turn into some kind of animal. Anyway, my door didn't lock. My bedroom door was upstairs. My bedroom was upstairs. My door didn't lock. I slammed it. But I'm strong, but you know, she was pushing on it. I'm trying to save my life, so I found out later from her, many years later, because I asked her if she remembered what happened. She was like, yeah, the voices in my head told me you were an alien who needed to be knocked out. Okay, so she didn't remember. I can't comprehend schizophrenia because I'm not that. I've never experienced that. I told you, when I was believing Chad Kruger was in love with me, it was based on something that could have happened, feasibly. Could have been true, alright? It was Fantasyland, but it wasn't schizophrenia, okay? Because it could have been true. He could have been one of my 2001 Alicia's World fans, okay? He could have been keeping tabs on me all those years, and he could have written Dark Horse for me. Was it plausible? No, but it was feasible. It was feasible. And lots of other songs that he's written could apply to me over the years, okay? So it was feasible, it just wasn't plausible. And it wasn't schizophrenia, okay? It was insanity, but it wasn't schizophrenia. No, I cannot comprehend schizophrenia. My mom was pushing on the door, because you can hurt somebody you absolutely love. Had my mother harmed me, killed me, do you think that wouldn't have, I don't think she would have, she would have just probably never survived it. She would have completely gone off the deep end, and that would have been the end of her. But I got away. She was pushing on the door. She got it halfway open. You know how somebody's after you? Oh, and just as an aside, many years later, I experienced the same thing at Donald's, you know. A couple months after he had left me for dead at the bottom of that hill, he didn't like what I was saying to Omar, or what I was saying to myself, you know. I would mumble the truth. Whatever I would say, I would talk to Omar so Donald would hear me, you know, like, God, I was with you, you left me for dead at the bottom, you know, I would say whatever. He chased me upstairs to the bedroom, but that door locked. And then he took off to his cousin's for 3 weeks because he knew that he was going to hurt me. And all I was doing was telling the truth. That's all I was ever doing, was tell the truth. People just don't want to hear the truth, especially when it's about them. The truth. Okay? But that was kind of deja vu. It was the same thing, and I just got to the bedroom and blocked it. But he didn't want me there, of course. I shouldn't have still been there after he had nearly killed me and not cared, you know. I had nowhere to go, and his mom liked me, and she loved my mother, and she'd met my mother a few times, and she flew to visit me when I was hurt, and this, that, and whatever, and so he didn't want me there, of course, but, you know, I had nowhere to go. And I'd been living there for over 7 years. I mean, come on, it was my home, but deja vu. Only he wasn't crazy, he was just an evil monster. I slammed the door. She was able to open it a couple times. You know how you're trying to stop somebody from coming in? The goddamn door didn't lock. She pushed on it. I pushed back harder. She pushed on it. I pushed back harder. Finally, she gave up. Thank God. Probably the voices in her head told her, you know, give up for now, Samantha. Go do something else or whatnot. Who knows? The alien has gotten away. Who knows? But in any case, she gave up. But before she left, before she went back downstairs, she clawed like this. She clawed on the door like an animal. She clawed on it. She clawed down like an animal. You know, She went like that probably a couple times, at least once, all the way down the door, like starting up the top and like that. And then she took off, and then I barricaded the door with all my furniture, my room, my bed, my bureau, anything you could think of. Anything I had to barricade that door, I did, and then I was safe. But I didn't want to stay in there forever. What was I supposed to do? So it was on the second floor. I crawled out on the ledge. It wasn't so high. I could have jumped, and I probably wouldn't have hurt myself. But I didn't. I stayed out there on the ledge, at first saying nothing, but then I started being eaten alive by mosquitoes because this took place in the summer. And then I started screaming at the top of my lungs, so the neighbors called the cops, and that's the end of that. Except it wasn't the end, because I grabbed Munchkin, my cat. I found the police came, and then my mom was gone, but believe it or not, I drove to my aunt's, cousins, whatever, with my cat. And then, of course, because they've never changed even since then, you know, they don't understand shit. They don't understand what I've been through. Don't care how Marion treats me, nothing. And this was before their mom passed away recently, okay? I went there to my cousins, my aunt, telling them what had happened, and then, of course, saying, you know, my mother could have killed me. Oh, your mother would never hurt you. Your mother loves you. Yeah, my mother loves me. That animal outside my door wanted to harm me, period. But, of course, negated, just like my life, everything. People want to negate me, want to negate what I've been through, want to negate my feelings, you know, my own family members. So I knew what had happened, and my mom even verified it for me. She validated what had happened many, many years later. I believe I asked her when she visited me in 2000 something in LA. We were talking and stuff, and I just was curious if she remembered what had happened all the way back when I was 23. And she said, "Yep, I remember." It's not that I wanted to bring back I wanted to know, though. I really wanted to know what had been going through her head, why she had tried to hurt me, because she had never tried before ever in my life. And she'd been sick numerous times. She just never had tried to hurt me until then. So you see, I've been through hell and back with my mother, and I still love her. And I used to say I would bare my teeth like a rabid animal to protect her. Because A, her illness is not her fault. B, there but for the grace of God go I. Okay? It's not her fault. It could have happened to me. I'm not going to reject her for that. For something that's not her fault. And the reason I don't reject her, the primary reason, is because she's been there for me as much as she could be. You think I can say the same about anybody else? My father? No. My mother has been there for me. She came through for me on more than one occasion. Particularly when she defied Marion and sent me that $100 to Omar, and I wouldn't have to sleep on the streets of Hollywood. I say defied Marion because had Marion known, she would have had a shit fit. There was only chance. My mom would have never dared ask Marion for a penny, even to save my sorry-ass life and the sorry-ass life of my dog, you know. But it just was chance my mom had saved up that tiny, tiny amount of money. Trying to save up to get her, so she wouldn't have to have her tooth pulled like Marion was ordering her to do, because my mom wanted to get a crown. She didn't want to have her tooth pulled. Oh yeah, but that's such a healthy fucking power of attorney relationship, isn't it? Yeah. Sell me another bridge. Can't pull the wool over my eyes, especially now. Especially after all the shit I went through with Donald and Hope. Especially after all the shit I found out that Marion had put my mother through while I was going through my own hell in LA. You know, not let my mother get her fucking crown. She could have put it on a credit card. I don't care if my mom was poor. Marion has no right to play God with my mother's life. Period. Period. Harry fucking it. Fucking cunt. I hate your fucking guts. Even when I was attending college and my mom was poor and she was working full time, but you know, she was living paycheck to paycheck, whatever, but she sent me, when I was in school, consistently a small amount, like whatever it was, $15, whatever it was a small amount. It was what she could afford. She did it. My father didn't send me a goddamn penny, but my mother did. My father hadn't given me a goddamn penny to start school, by the way, either. No, he wasn't rich, but you think he didn't have some money? Of course he did. If you're not poor, all parents have some money they can scrape together to help their kids go to school. He didn't care. My mother did. Would I have survived without that extra little money my mother sent me? Of course I would have. I'm a survivor. She did that so I could have a little bit of spending money, okay? So, I remember I got good grades in high school. I received grants and loans to attend school, to attend just a state school, okay? I attended a state school. And I got grants and loans because my dad wasn't married to his girlfriend at the time. That's all, so they didn't count her income, even though they'd been living together for forever, even before I moved in with them when I was 13, almost 14, okay? Moved in with them, but it doesn't matter. That's not cheating anybody. They're not officially married. They don't count her income, they only count his. It's the only reason I was able to go to school. And even that wasn't enough. The grants and loans, I had to work weekends. I worked the summer a lot. When I got out of school, every summer I would work. In the summer before I started college, I would work. I worked a hell of a lot. I remember I was working at Kmart, I was working at a grocery store, and then when I was going to school, I couldn't work on school nights, but I worked on the weekends, like I told you. And my father, I did what I had to do. You wonder why later I had no qualms, probably about walking around late at night or even going home with men or whatnot. I mean, when I was just a kid, high school, I had no choice. If I wanted to go to college, if I had to save up money, I had to work. Okay? I got a job in a grocery store. I worked on the weekends at night. My dad wasn't going to come pick me up. I rode my bike there a couple miles, and I had to ride it home 11:30 at night. He didn't care. He didn't care that I could be raped or killed or whatnot. He didn't care. Didn't fucking care. I had to go by this long field. I was terrified. But what does it tell you about my father? He didn't care that his gorgeous 16-year-old daughter was riding her bike home 2 miles late at night on the weekends. He didn't fucking give a shit. And then later he's going to be upset with me that I told my newfound brother that he introduces me to, who's a year younger than me or a year older than me, whatever. When I'm in my 40s, he decides to introduce me, by internet, of course, because the guy lives in another state. But, and I tell him the truth, he's going to call me a liar. Going to tell me to ask my African-American brother, who was never my brother, who, my dad, the philanderer, his wife cheated on him with an African-American. And yes, I have to be politically correct out here. But when we're watching The Voice or whatnot, and it's not meant to be an insult or what, my roommate and I don't say African-American, we say the 5-letter word, Not because we think that they're less, or at least on my end, I don't think that they're less. It's because it's easier, and it's But whatever, I'll politically correct out here. The kid was not. I admired my dad for accepting him as his son, but he treated that kid way better than he ever treated me as flesh and blood. Okay. He didn't fucking care that his 16-year-old daughter was riding her bike home 2 miles on the weekend nights at 11:30 at night. He didn't give a shit. And years later, he's going to deny everything he did. When I first moved in with him, he would comment on my body. I would ask for permission to take a bath, and he'd smirk. Why? What are you going to do in there, Thinking I'm going to go in there and touch myself, or just implying or whatnot, he was always there, and he was leering at me, and I told him I have every right to tell the world. I have every right to tell the world. He's going to say to me, later, you lied. Apparently my newfound brother believed him, and is going to condemn my father for something he did 30 years ago, which he shouldn't have condemned my father, but whatever, and you tell your brother the truth. I didn't do any of that. No, yes you did, you just don't remember. You're not going to tell me my life didn't happen the way that I know that it did, any more than my mother's side of the family is going to tell me my life didn't happen the way I know it fucking did. And what I don't remember, I have written down. But you don't know how smart I am. You don't know how much I remember up here. But what I don't remember, I have written down. Okay? Was I too hard on her when I was living with her for those months? Sometimes was I too hard on her? Yeah. I saw her slipping into dementia more. I feared if you're like this in your 60s, how are you going to be in your 70s, I didn't want to lose my mother to Alzheimer's or dementia or whatnot, So I stimulated her brain, and I helped her drop 30 fucking pounds, is what she looked like when I moved in, okay? I helped her drop 30 pounds. I helped her, I built her up, I got us Netflix movies, I did all this shit that Marion certainly won't be going around telling everyone when she's telling her that I left her house destroyed and gave the dog to the dog catcher and stole $1,700 from my mother. It's all bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. Okay? It's all fucking bullshit. I've been there for my mother just like she's been there for me. I've been there with love, with support, with not just looking at her like she's mentally ill, like Marion does, and I know she does. I know it. When my mother's being brutally honest with herself, she knows it too, because she's hinted around it, even outright said it to me. The sister that's been gone since before I was born, gone, I think, locked up, crazy, whatnot, okay? My mom used to say that her sister, particularly Marion, they're trying to turn me into, Sarah. Yep, Mom, they are. I have this stupid little card Marion gave my mother. I took it. Because remember, Marion got all the money. She confiscated because it was easier. It used to be split up. It was split up at one point. The dead aunt was holding on to some, one which wasn't dead, of course. My mom was holding on to some, and Marion was. And in the end, it was decided. I wonder who decided that in our family. I told you, Marion, they all bow down to her. It was decided that Marion, it would be better if Marion held on to it all, okay? And then Marion gives my mother this, remember, my mom's a full-grown adult, she gives my mother this stupid little card, okay? My mom needed sneakers. And my mom actually wanted, I think, better sneakers, if I recall it correctly. I don't know, but anyway. Oh no, it's not that. It's Marion had all the power, right? But instead of giving my mother money to buy her own sneakers, it was my mother's birthday, and she had to wait to get sneakers, even though she needed them before. And Marion's going to give them to her for my mother's birthday. And she gives her this little card. It was a little card for a kid, because I got a hold of it. I have it in my storage unit. Little card for a little kid. And on it, in the inside, it goes, take the name of my aunt who's been gone forever, and give her a little nickname, like, I don't know, let's say her name is Tabitha, and you'd call her Tatty or something like that. Anyway, we'll pretend. And it goes something like, remember, Marion could have just let Marion this is when my mom, she wouldn't even give my mother money to get sneakers. It had to be for my mother's birthday, and it had to be from Tabitha or Sarah, or whatever, too. Here's $50 from me and Tatty for your birthday so you can get sneakers. Fuck you. You know, that's how she wrote it, too. You think I'm not smart enough to see what she's doing? Of course, this was right around, this was the beginning of her being sectioned by Marion 5 times in less than a year, So she's just gonna think of my mother as just this schizophrenic woman, She likes my mom to be out of her hair and, not bother her and bother her as little as possible. My mom used to even say to me, Mary can't stand if I ask her for anything, or, she can't be bothered with me, and whatever, okay? Mary can twist